You probably have heard only 1% population capture more than 40% global wealth. The rest of 19% population only share about 50% global wealth. Apparently, the wealth gap is widening. It is widening considerably, surprisingly, and unbearably. I have no more words to say. Many people can't help to hate the rich, blame unfair tax policies, question democratic ideology. All make sense, but beyond superficial phenomena, fragmented opinions, and subjective sentiments, why don't we dive to the system, to organize all possible related elements together to draw a whole picture, to figure out why? Why could the gap go viral so extremely in the United States? Incomes, housing, stocks, bonds, art collections, and other assets, all these visible wealth are not there from nothing. They can be inherited, created, gained, accumulated, and flow across time and space. Believe it or not, a sharp wealth contrast that has all of us not appeared recently. In fact, obvious wealth gap in the United States can stay back in the 1980s, according to a real-world report from more than 100 researchers worldwide. In the 1980s? Yep. In the 1980s, when the baby-born generation became young-dominated population during peaceful era after World War II, when people's basic daily life needs were met considerably, even overproduction has challenged a lot on natural environment, when people's entertainment activities such as TV, gaming, gambling, found their successful business ways. When urbanization expanded, the more people have used to get each other by instinct calls, and when women, non-white race, and all minorities have won their equal and legal rights in the whole society, when petroleum became the leading valuable natural resources after energy crisis, and when the government significantly cut tax, when many promising industries started to boom. The initial version of our current life in the 1980s is a historical turning point of wealth distribution. Since 1980s, incomes and wealth in private companies and individuals have started to become rich. Conversely, the public sectors, the government, become poor. So, who are lucky dogs of these private companies and individuals? The top rich companies in the United States back then were these 10, which were collectively run energy, automobile, chip, and telecom business. If any new graduates then enter these leading companies in these most profitable industries, even by chance, you can imagine that how much salaries and bonus they would gain at the beginning of their careers. What's more, their careers' luck had lasted for more than 15 years, until the mid-1990s, when the retailing giant Walmart and the leading banks such as Citigroup and Bank of America in financial industries became the top 10 fortune state and brought some changes. Clearly, the top businessmen in energy, automobile, and chip industries in the United States in the 1980s got a chance to ride the first wave of incomes and wealth gap. By statistics, during 1980s, the number of millionaires in the United States has skyrocketed from 13 to 99. Furthermore, those richest were not only the original richest who spent their money and enjoyed luxury lives. Some of them ambitiously came to the politics, successfully transferring their wealth power into powerful political influence, even significantly changing the world order. As the United States won the Cold War in the 1990s, economic prosperities in the United States turned out extraordinary. Meanwhile, the wealth gap continued to be widened. Many more came up to join the top rich clubs. From this chart, the number of millionaires in the United States has increased more rapidly. It is during this period that many famous figures came up. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Sam Walton and the Walton family, John Warner College, Rupert Murdoch, Paul Allen, Michael Dell, Larry Ellison, who came from computers, sales, finance, media, and other industries. Warren Buffett is one of successful representatives in finance industry. In the 1990s, a huge amount of private have manifested on smart and greedy bankers and professional investors due to the faster deployment of investment banks, hedge funds, stock market, and a series of financial products in the last 10 years. Also, as personal computers commercialization wave rose, both hardware and software companies took money-making ride successfully, and many top engineers and businessmen in this industry got their wealth luck. Last but not least, real estate industry's brain came as well. Since mid-1990s, an incredible real estate bubble emerged after savings and long crisis helped many new ordinary businessmen level up their wealth. Those smart adventurers who dared to buy many houses at risk of bearing a huge amount of mortgage from banks, then did retail and housing flipping business, have become new money. In 21st century, as all have known, the information and technology industries have become the cornucopia for the richest. Glories for these incredible wealth gains can't exist without individuals' efforts. Also, it shows thanks to faster development of capital market, including venture capital, stock market, and IPO frenzy. More obviously, leading industries and companies in different times are the indispensable wealth elevators that help the ordinary to make American dream come true. More broadly, in the world map, an increasing economic power in one country is the wealth elevator that helps those leading companies and industries to grow and flourish. However, in the face of the same economic development and prosperity's picture, in sharp contrast, over 40 years, the middle class have been declining and the bottom has never been improved. According to the Pew Research Center, in 1970s, the median income of upper-income household was 2.2 times of the income of a middle-income household and 6 to 3 times of the incomes of lower-income households. By 2016, these income ratios had increased significantly to 2.4 and 7.3, respectively, and both reports from credit growth and the weather world indicate the same phenomenon. But never is economic development a positive linear pattern. Rather, it goes ups and downs. So how about wealth gap goes during bust period? For individuals, besides different educational backgrounds, career tragedies, choices, and different personal work ethics, another significant turning point of a wealth gap is a historical crisis. Who suffered more from the Great Recession? Even the richest people couldn't escape from these horrible tsunami waves, not let alone others. More importantly, who would recover relatively easier from these sufferings? Apparently, the rich. As this chart indicated that decrease on the number of billionaires in the United States at the fastest speed not result from increasing tax, but from financial crisis. Here, about the year 2000, the burst of dot-com bubble in stock market brought catastrophic hit on many wealthy people. Stock sunk, company flooded, fortune lost. Even many rich people suicided. Since then, the American economy started to slip down, mudslides that would end up in a full-on recession. Financial crisis in 2007 to 2008, the worst employment rate, worst GDP, and all kinds of economic disasters since World War II. Compared with the dot-com bust, financial crisis in 2007 to 2008 has made further and profound negative impact on the middle class and the bottom than the top rich. A series of housing bubble bursts, subprime crash, and employment. Those fatal financial strikes heavily dampen recovery possibilities on the middle class and the bottom, who rely more on credits and mortgages on housing and cars. As the Pew Research Center reports, these numbers reveal that while the incomes of those in upper-income households have more than recovered from the losses experienced during the Great Recession, this has not been the case for the lower and middle-income families. Their 2016 income levels were comparable to 1989 levels. Again, visible wealth includes incomes, housing, stocks, and other assets are not there from nothing. They can be heritaged, created, gained, accumulated, and flow across time and space. The key of mastering wealth is nothing but individuals and economic climate. What about the things for now? But now, unfortunately, the pandemic. Wealth gap is still widening. Unfortunately, yes, the gap is widening unprecedentedly in an unexpected way. Want to know why? Subscribe my channel. I will talk about this topic later.